Boost tonight for a huge proposed convention center in Albany. That means the long talked about project could soon be built. The governor made the announcement today that his budget will include a large state investment of $75 million to help build a $200 million convention center and hotel in Albany. It's a big step in a project that's been in the works for years, and that could mean big things for downtown Albany, a city that he says has taken huge steps in progress. It's something that has business owners in the capital region very excited.
People are going to be, milling around. They're going to be spending. They're going to be eating and drinking, and that's what we're in business for.
But not everyone has that same sentiment. Some residents say the millions of dollars promised to build the convention center could be put to better use. Latricia Thomas has their side of the story.
It's promised to be an economic strength, $200 million convention center proposed for downtown Albany. But not everyone sees the attraction.
There seems to be a glut of convention center space, and the usage has decreased over the past 10 years.
Alice Green, former candidate for Albany mayor, says while a great city, Albany doesn't have the attractions to lure conventions from across the country.
I think we're going to pay for it in the end if we really do, because it's not going to make money.
It's the money behind the plan, and today's promised support by Governor Pataki that has others questioning the multi-million-dollar development.
And when the governor said that he was going to offer $75 million, I assumed that that's not going to be out of his own pocket. So it's going to be taxpayers' money, so we should have some say in that.
A say in a project Bill Tracy believes isn't even needed, with the current convention center still in use.
I used to work at the Empire State Plaza, and to my knowledge, they've got lots of room there for convention centers.
It's very risky business.
Latricia Thomas, News 10.
Sense of security. They're not really understanding the dimensions of the problem. And we're not looking at the research that's been done on sex offenders in terms of how best to treat them.
220 sex offenders live in Rensselaer County right now.
Law enforcement approach to handling behavioral problems within the schools does not further the growth of students.
We have come to the conclusion that we have to stop blaming kids for the failure of our school system. We have to look at this as a systemic problem, an institutional problem, and we have to come up with solutions to them.
Green says the school also needs a conflict resolution center as well as an education program for the parents whose students have been disciplined.
Over here who's an honor student, and to put our students in jail. And this happens repeatedly. We don't hear about all the arrests that take place at Albany High. I mean, it's in the hundreds.
Without condoning violence of any kind, the Center for Law and Justice wants to help change the pattern of treatment for inner city kids.
We're covering it up. We're simply blaming students. And this has to stop.
I'm glad now that we have some people that are advocating for our children, because the school does not. They rather just snatch them, arrest them, and they're gone.
Albany police have refused to release the surveillance tape of the Albany school fight. Ken Scriven, CBS 6 News, Albany.
Well, in a statement today, Albany School Superintendent Eva Joseph said schools alone cannot create an overall environment of caring and respect that might prevent violence. By working together, we can address youth violence and help our students.
Discipline, and instead administrators need to come up with more proactive plans to prevent bad behavior and a less punitive approach to punishment. The group also worries that a disparate number of minority students are criminalized unnecessarily.
We can no longer afford to incarcerate so many of our young people. It's not solving the problems within the school. It is creating problems for individual students, their families, and the community.
The coalition used 17-year-old Melissa Faggins as an example. Police arrested the senior for what they say was her involvement in a fight at Albany High last week. She's out of jail on bail, but is not yet allowed back to school.
Fights broke out last Thursday at Albany High School in a schoolyard and cafeteria. 5 students were arrested. Activist Leon Van Dyke says in other schools there would have been school discipline like suspensions, but not arrests.
When it comes to minority kids, far too often, this has been stated, and I can't state it over enough, the kids are criminalized. So you see in this situation 6 kids, either misdemeanors or felonies that they're being up to, and even an adult being charged.
Albany police say they only responded because the school called them and that this wasn't just student-on-student violence.
On that day, 2 staff members, 2 security members were assaulted and injured. One had to go to Albany Medical Center. With that, an arrest is appropriate. There's no alternative to that.
This parent was angry today. Her honor student daughter was among those arrested.
She's out of school. She's out of class. Her whole life revolves around school. She's planning on going to college, and she no longer is allowed on Albany High property.
But the mother admitted her daughter was involved to some degree. She was trying to pull her brother out of the fight.
At 12, 13, 17 years old, you should know what's right and wrong. You should know that there's individuals that you have to respect, whether it's a police officer, a firefighter, or a school teacher, that there's lines that can't be crossed, and assaulting, threatening any of those individuals is not going to be tolerated.
This panel of activists pointed many fingers today at the police and at the school system, but at no time were parents or guardians mentioned as part of the problem or solution for violence in the schools. In a statement today, the City School District of Albany said, quote, "Schools alone cannot create an overall environment of caring and respect that might prevent violence." It went on to say, "We need families and others to join us in reinforcing the clear message that violent behavior is not acceptable." In Albany, Nathan O'Leary, Fox 23 News.
That I look for better ways to promote a new vision for social change that will make Albany a stronger, safer, and more democratic and compassionate city. I also seek better ways to listen and to give voice to those who are not heard.
Political analyst Mark Grimm says Green's announcement may be just the thing incumbent Mayor Jerry Jennings needs to win the race.
Either you're for Jerry Jennings or you're against him. Now, the against vote has another alternative, so I think that helps Jennings, really. And it also fractures the minority bloc, which was so critical, for example, to help elect David Soares.
3 others are also interested in the job. Archie Goodby and Benzie Johnson will run against Jennings in the primary, and Republican Joe Sullivan says he also plans to run. In the newsroom, Danielle Strauss, Capitol News.
Safety. If people have jobs, if everybody has a job, if we can guarantee full employment, I think, and I'm pretty sure, that you will find that crime will not be the kinds of problems.
Mayor Jennings has said he will raise $1 million if he needs to keep his job. He says he will work hard on the campaign trail, as he does in office.
You know, I don't take anything for granted. That's exactly, I don't run that way. I never did in the past. I've had some very difficult races before. I've worked hard for 12 years, and people are recognizing that.
I think most candidates use most of their money to sell an image. I'm not trying to sell an image. I'm trying to sell an idea and a vision. So I don't need millions of dollars to do that.
Now, Archie Goodby says right now his focus is on the Democratic primary, but he believes Green's candidacy indicates another level of dissatisfaction with the Jennings administration. By the way, both Alice Green's husband, Charles Toohey, and his father, Carl, have run for Albany mayor and lost. Ann and John.
Announced her decision to run for the position. She'll be running against 3-time incumbent Mayor Jerry Jennings and Archie Goodby, both Democrats. Green will be running on the Green Party line.
Green's campaign strategy is twofold. She plans to engage families in the Green Party website and in face-to-face conversations. The information gathered will then be presented to community leaders. Gabriella Bruni, CBS 6 News.
The issues that I've just talked about. If I can get our community strong, communities are strong and safe. There are no shortcuts or quick fix solutions.
There are now 5 candidates in the race. Incumbent Mayor Jerry Jennings will run against Archie Goodby and Benzie Johnson in a Democratic primary, and Republican Joe Sullivan has also said that he plans to run. And we caught up with Mayor Jennings after Green's announcement, and he had this to say about his latest challenger.
Well, Alice and I have had a lot of agreement on a lot of issues, and you know, I heard she was stressing the importance of family, which certainly I've been doing since I was a teacher in the city school district, and I'm looking forward to a consistent message from all of us running for mayor of what's best for this city.
The mayor also says that there are certain issues that are not getting enough attention in Albany. Jennings says education, youth violence, and crime are issues everyone in Albany will need to work harder to fix.
The city's top job.
The Green Party, which I'm a member of, asked me to head their ticket to run for mayor, and I've given great thought and consideration to that request.
It seems Dr. Green has already made up her mind. She just needs to make it official.
If you get into this, you're going to be in it to win.
Of course. Why would somebody do it for any other reason?
As a Green Party candidate, she could potentially face incumbent Democrat Jerry Jennings in November, or Archie Goodby, the man challenging Jennings to a primary.
They're all friends. I like them.
And she also plans to run a friendly campaign, nothing vitriolic. Her main focus will be on the issues and progressive justice.
My life is pretty focused on, social justice. Always has been. I don't see that changing.
Dr. Green founded the Center for Law and Justice, a nonprofit organization that provides legal assistance to poor people and people of color. She's no stranger to politics, though. Back in 1998, she ran for lieutenant governor on the Green Party line with Al Grandpa Lewis. She's now in her 60s, a grandmother who runs 6 miles a day and believes that she has a lot to offer to the city of Albany.
I do a little bit of everything. I like different kinds of music. I like rap, jazz, traditional, classical. I don't think people should be put in boxes.
In Albany, Dan Bazil, News Channel 13. On the ballot for Albany mayor. On Monday, community activist Dr. Alice Green officially announced her intentions to take over the office. She'll run as the Green Party candidate. Green is no stranger to politics. She ran for lieutenant governor in 1998, helping establish the Green Party as an official party in New York State.
It's at this point in my life that I look for better ways to promote a new vision for social change that will make Albany a stronger, safer, and more democratic and compassionate city. I also seek better ways to listen and to give voice to those who are not heard.
Incumbent Jerry Jennings and fellow Democrat Archie Goodby have also announced their candidacy for mayor of Albany.
Green officially announced her desire to run yesterday in Albany. Green has been an outspoken person on issues of social justice and says she's running to help out Albany's families that are in trouble. Green has been a controversial figure over the years, like 7 years ago here when she and protesters disrupted Governor Pataki's speech on Martin Luther King Day.
There are things I did wrong. I think everybody knows that, and I think everybody shares in that. There are things I wish I had done better. Sometimes when I've confronted people, I've been as sensitive to their feelings, but it came out of a deep passion for the things that I believe in.
Green's husband, Charles Toohey, and his father, Carl, both ran for mayor of Albany against Erastus Corning, but she says that's a non-issue.
First woman to announce. She says there are problems in the city and police and politicians can't fix them alone.
The city needs new leadership. Her theme is put families first, and she says 3-term incumbent Mayor Jerry Jennings has not been responsive enough to neighborhood needs.
What we want to see is that the city of Albany has as its goal the strengthening of families, putting families first in everything that we do, in all of the programs and all of the policies that we implement. We have to look at them in terms of what we think the impact might be on families.
Republican candidate Joe Sullivan, who is also running in the race, agrees that residents are fleeing, but he says the reasons are rising crime and failing schools. Sullivan and Green are challenging the incumbent Jennings in the November election.
Who just posted a large primary victory. Bill Lambden has more on what Dr. Green hopes to do.
Although Jerry Jennings has just won the Democratic primary by a roughly 2-to-1 margin, third-party challenger Alice Green sees an opening in the low number of total votes cast for the 3-term mayor.
I have a lot of confidence in the people of the city of Albany. I think if we focus on the issues of their concern, that they will listen and they will vote based on the kind of program that we come up with.
You could say Green is running a grassroots campaign. She was standing on the grass near a U-Haul facility underneath a noisy interstate overpass, chosen to represent the dwindling Albany population.
I don't want anybody to be fooled by the mayor's victory, by the new buildings that are going up and the new sidewalks. There's a great deal of dissatisfaction in the city of Albany. The population has gone down since 1980 census. People are fleeing the city for a number of reasons. A couple of the board members of the school board actually gave a couple of those reasons. One was public safety, housing, and of course the schools.
Green criticized Jennings for failing to build a consensus before making major decisions on issues like charter reform and the city landfill. And in a departure from her initial announcement a couple of months ago, Green said she was running both to raise important issues and to win. Although with a planned campaign budget of $20,000, she has far fewer resources than the mayor.
People leaving the city. We have to find ways to keep them here and to encourage other families to move in.
Green will face incumbent Mayor Jerry Jennings and Republican Joe Sullivan in the November elections. Plan to create a more diverse workforce. She says African Americans make up 30% of Albany's population, but only hold 11% of city jobs. If elected mayor, Green says she'd like to change that. Green would also like to change residency requirements so people have to live in the community they work for.
More and more people are finding that that they could live outside the city, take advantages of the resources that are in the city, and after a while, you don't have a real community.
Green joins Republican Joe Sullivan